And we are live. Hello, friends. Welcome to KCD Office Hours every week, pretty much when I'm available. I just come here to this Zoom call and answer questions from folks. And yep, and it's live on YouTube. So let me stick that link in the office hours. Let me share my screen. And yeah, so this is office hours. Office hours happens primarily in the Discord here. So you ask questions here and then I'll answer them during office hours. I give priority to people who are actually in the meeting, in the Zoom call, and then I go through any questions that were asked since the last office hours. Before we get started with that though, I want to mention something. Hold on, actually 1 second. I just realized I need to send a message that's high priority. Just 1 second. Okay, and let me grab here we go. So you all are the first to see this, but I am going to announce this next week probably, and I'll share it in Discord a little bit later too. But yeah, I am going to be doing a workshop series. It's going to be sick. Actually, I guess I'll stick this in the office hours Discord so folks can grab that. They don't have to type it in themselves. Oh man, look at that. We'll have to figure out what that's all about. But yeah, so feel free to jump on this. There's a spot where you can get tickets at the bottom. I'm told it does also support purchase power parity even. So take a look at this. A bunch of workshops that I'll be giving in July. So the first workshop I think will be July 18th, and it'll be 2 workshops a week for 4 weeks. Lots of workshops. It's gonna be sick. So yeah, give that a look on Epic Web. Oh, also Epic Web has a new design and it looks amazing. This is so fantastic. It's so awesome. And we've got the tutorials and we've got the tips. Oh, right. I'm the creator, so this is my view of the tips. The tips look different for you. And then articles also. Epic Web Dev, it's awesome. So take a look at that. All right, so with that out of the way, James, I see that you're in here. You had a question about this. Would it be easier for me to just read through this, or would you like to just ask yourself?
Yeah, I can just ask.
Okay.
That works for me. So yeah, I mean, it's generally, I was here last week. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Also asking about downshift that time. This time the code sandbox that I shared, you should actually be able to fork and edit yourself without being shared to. But this is effectively the problem where I'm trying to integrate a select that's created with use select and integrate it with React Hook Form. And React Hook Form, along with some other form libraries, support the native client-side validation. But in order for that to work, it needs to be tied to an actual native input.
Okay.
And the use select hook, at least like how all the examples show it being used, doesn't have a native input underlying it. It's just like there's the toggle, there's the menu, there's the label, there's the item, right? And for the toggle, the recommended element to apply that to is a div. So there's no native form element that would help a select component integrate with a form, even like a just a native form without a library. It would be great if one could build a select that would just naturally work with just a plain old native form and have its values picked up. So I'm just looking for insight on what the recommendation would be of how to implement that. should there be like a hidden input field that is kind of like mirroring the state, or is use combo box just like, should we use that? But then like kind of retrofit it to work like a select, or what?
Yeah, good question. So if what you want is a select, like something that you just click on it and you choose from some options, then yeah, don't use combo box. Like I would definitely stick with that experience. And you're not using a native select because you can't style it well, right? That's why you're
Right.
using uSelect in the first place.
Exactly.
And so yeah, a hidden input is exactly what I would do.
Okay. And so when I'm looking at the, sorry, I actually don't have my that sandbox up, but when I'm looking at it, at least like this implementation, which pretty closely mirrors how I'm actually implementing it in my code, when I look at that, as far as like the state that's being held, it's going to be some object with like a value and a label property, and storing that in a hidden input. Like I imagine that I'll have to like kind of stringify the object, or like, how would you recommend
Um,
that?
yeah, so so the actual value is going to be like lowercase red or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would just do yeah, it really doesn't matter where it shows up. You can stick it up here for all that matters.
Right.
I say type hidden, and then value is selected item dot value. And really that should be it. And then you just do, this register thing, whatever that's supposed to do on there. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that you need to worry about the label at all.
Okay. So with React hook form, I don't know if you've ever used it, but with the whole register thing, like um, if select is the name of the field on the form, then the value for it will be like that entire like value and label object. Um, with this, um, I'll have to experiment with it on my own, I guess, just to see like how that ends up. Maybe this will work fine. But I have a feeling that like just doing the value while the field is kind of like registered as the entire like values object might kind of like not necessarily play nice.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
I'm not sure. I've never used React Hook Form before. So when you say that, like, where in here do you get the values from use
yeah,
form?
so if you well, right now when I like am submitting, I'm just logging it out, as you can see in the like forms on submit handler. So
Mm,
there's this like handle submit function that React Hook Form does to like kind of handle the native behavior.
mm,
And if we were to turn off just like the should use validation thing, right? Um, which is yeah, if you just comment that out and then open up the console, select an item and submit, I guess you got to refresh the page. Um, then options, which is the name of the field, you get like the object.
I see. And you want options just to be the value.
No, not necessarily. Like I think this is how I would want it to work still. It's really the like native form behavior that is missing that I also want in addition.
Okay.
Um,
So, um,
and this works fine for use combo box. Like it's truly just the lack of an input. And in the Discord thread, I post a link to another code sandbox that is literally the same thing, but use combo box as a type ahead, and it works fine.
Okay, I guess I'm a little confused on what the desire or what the problem is. You said that what it's doing right now is the desired behavior, but when you turn on should use native validation, that doesn't work.
Like, so, right now it's just like a controlled input. So, React Hook Form knows how to handle a controlled field, and so all of that works fine. But when you turn on this should use native validation property, then it's trying to treat this input as something that it expects to like have native behavior. And because it's not an input and because it's not a select, that functionality fails. Now, I do think that it's reasonable for like I think React Hook Form should handle this, like that. If some of the form has native input fields and some of the form doesn't, that like this works for the native ones and not for, I don't think that it should throw an exception like it does here. But I would also like the use select to like work with that behavior. So
I'm confused how React Hook Form even knows about our custom select here. Like there's nothing
there's
registering.
no, yeah, the register is for register is used for uncontrolled inputs. So if you scroll up, there's a use controller hook, just a little bit lower actually. Sorry. Or no, right there. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
The use controller hook. And you pass it like the name of the field that you want to control and this prop that you get from use form. And then it returns you this field. And then you take that field and you spread it over the input just like you do for like the register. So I take that field, and that field,
Oh,
it
I
has the name
see.
property, it has the ref, it has the on change.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, so what I would do is I'd say name select field name. You might not even need to do it this way. But yeah, I would not put that there.
got it. Just like let the toggle be the toggle.
Let the toggle be the toggle. We'll figure out what that is. And the fact that this ends up including the label and the value, I would totally 100% not do that. I would just have that be whatever the value is. Because this object that you're getting from submit should only be concerned about values and no metadata like labels or anything like that. So
Okay.
wherever that's getting set, you'll want to.
All right. So then you would have for both combo boxes and selects, like leave it to the responsibility of like whatever component is implementing this form to like on submit if it needs any of that metadata during the on submit function. Like it should be responsible for like, okay, given the value of the field, okay, I need to go look up like this metadata. I'm going to go find in the list of possible options the option that matches the value and then grab that metadata.
Yeah. If you have multiple items that have the same value, that's probably not good.
That's a problem. Yeah.
That's a separate problem. Yeah. So what I would and most of the time these sorts of selects, maybe they are just like simple like this. Yeah, I messed something up, but yeah, maybe they are simple like this, but often it's like choosing from a list of items and they all have IDs, and the value is going to be the ID, and then you can use that ID to look up what the label should be and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And do you think that the items that we pass to the actual select or combo box component should just be a list of the values, or can it also be a list of the object, but what we end up actually setting to the form is just the value? Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah. So these options, where's options coming from?
It's up above.
Oh, right. Yeah. So these options, that's fine to pass it as the items, but then when the selected item changes, just set it to the value, and then where it's taking item to string, Yeah, that should be fine. I'm not sure how I broke this, but
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
at some place, you're going to probably need to map the item's value to its label, and that's just JavaScript stuff. So
Yeah, heard. Okay, cool. All right, thank you. This was helpful.
Yeah, and I guess I should mention also, like, you could probably just do regular register instead of doing that use controller stuff.
Right.
When you do the input, yeah. So.
Okay, cool. Heard. All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take it easy.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, James. Okay, so let's look at. Oh, thank you, Ayush. Doesn't it, like this site is sick. Yes, we're gonna always trust Epic Web Dev. Look at that. That's so awesome. I can hardly believe that somebody made something that looks that awesome for something I'm building. Like, that is just so great. And it's like we're in the process of making this, and it also has a light mode, and that also looks like it needs work. But it's awesome. Okay, let's see. Let me make sure I haven't missed anybody else. So yeah, Giant or Giant, I'm not sure how they say their name, but I think we addressed that. Ritik, I want to ask you which state management, or actually I like to say answering this now. Which state management tool I can use for large scale as well as small scale projects. As I've seen your Epic React course where you explained context API for manage state in depth. And I'm so much into these to utilize in my live project. So is it better to use the same in each of my project, or should I try something else? Could you please brief me on this? Okay, great. So a couple of things on this. I've got a blog post about state management that I wrote years ago called Application State Management with React. And one thing about this, no, I don't mention remix at all. I should mention remix in here. But yeah, this is still very relevant unless, and actually here we talk about React Query. Yeah. React Query should be what you use for everything unless you're able to use remix. So TLDR, use remix. If you can't, use React Router plus React Query. And then only sometimes do you need context. More on this here. And I actually did a podcast episode. I think it was this one. Yes. Or related. Yeah, use outlet context. Yeah, you don't really need to use context. I've barely ever used context anymore. It is definitely still useful for lower level components like compound component pattern. That's like bread and butter for context. But yeah, outside of that, I don't really see it as useful. I mean, it still can be used. It works just as well as the day that that it was released. But yeah, there are nicer ways with modern frameworks and stuff. But if you can't use those modern frameworks, then there you go. That still works. Okay, Sibyllus, I have said your name on stream multiple times, and I have never been corrected. So please, if I am saying it wrong, do correct me. Actually, I might have been corrected, and I might have forgotten. So I'm sorry if I am making that mistake. How to import JSON file in Node.js using ES6 imports without any warning, leaving this method import. Okay. Mentioned Twitter, tried fly, free trial, ask for a credit card. Yeah, okay, so let's answer this one first. I have not tried import assertions, but I'm pretty sure that this is totally possible. So let's, I mean, I'm not sure about avoiding warnings, but let's make a directory npm init, and oh, come on. And then we'll just open up VS Code. Say type module, and then index.js, and then import package from package JSON, assert type JSON, and then console log package. All right, and node. Okay, I think I need to specify node index.js. Okay. Oh, whoops. Relative. There we go. I'm not getting any warning. So my node version is 18.13. So maybe you're using an older version. I don't know, but yeah, that seemed to work just fine for me. Seems to work fine for me on 18.13. Okay. And yes, so they do have a generous free tier, but require a credit card to sign up. They won't charge the credit card so long as you stay within the free tier. They also they don't, I don't know why I'm typing this out, but here it is. They don't charge anything above or below $5. Okay, leaving this code. I don't understand what you mean. I don't have the country's JSON that you have. I guess this isn't, I suppose I could make a data countries JSON. Yay. And then we can do that. Pretty sure this will still work. Oh, I don't know. I mean, leaving assert. Oh, you mean like not having assert by taking that off? Yeah, that's not going to work. Because it's going to, yeah, that's just the standard specification. There is no standard for ES modules to be able to import non-JavaScript modules. That just isn't a thing. And so the standard was added, or added this assert thing that allows you to specify the type of module, and then this thing called a loader could be referenced. So that is that. Taryn, what's up? Hopefully that helps a little bit. Gives warn on V20. Yeah, I don't know. Siblis. Sorry. Taryn, did you have a question?
Yeah, and I have to ask really quickly before stand-up starts.
Oh, okay.
So on my website, can I link in chat?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So basically I have a page that just renders like this whole list of things I learned throughout the day, right?
Oh yeah, cool.
So obviously the DOM is super massive, right? Like if you scroll, you can see the scroll bar is huge. And I was thinking about adding like virtualization or something like that. I haven't tried yet, but does using a framework like Remix or Next kind of impact my implementation or affect SSR? I haven't tried yet. I'm curious if you've ever done anything like this before.
Yeah, so there is a, and I cannot remember where this is, performance monitor. There it is. DOM nodes. Here it shows how many DOM nodes are on the page. I look at this and I do not see anything that's very concerning to me, provided that there's not like a bunch of things happening on event handlers and stuff like that. Like everything seems to be running just fine. I mean, I am on a higher powered device, but like 11,000 DOM nodes is actually not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to see one, I know that you got to go, but if you want to look at a site that has a lot of DOM nodes, check out the ECMAScript spec. Whoops, spec. There we go. That works. This thing has, I haven't measured it yet, but just loading the DOM, this isn't like a slow network thing. This is actually getting the DOM to display, because it is so massive. Like,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, this thing is nonsense. So just for fun, let's see how many DOM nodes. Yeah, 407,000.
Okay. I only kind of asked this question because when I looked at my the web vitals for my page, it did complain about like excessive DOM nodes. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it did. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Did it give any suggestions on what to do to fix that?
It basically said avoid excessive DOM node size, or basically like a huge body. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not really like, I mean, do you have like code blocks? Yeah, they're like code blocks, and so there's going to be, you know, a lot of DOM nodes for each one of those things. Yeah, you know, like I honestly think it's fine. But if you are concerned, at some point you actually, I have a similar problem on my call page where I've just got a ton of episodes here. And it's not necessarily like a performance problem, really. It actually becomes a user experience problem, where it's just very difficult to consume this very effectively. I mean, one nice thing about it is I can be like, I know that he talked about hypermedia, and so I can just find it on the page instead of you having to build some sort of special search thing. So like there, you know, it kind of goes both ways in this way, but at some point it probably makes sense to add some pagination from a user experience standpoint. That's the solution I'm going to need here. I actually have another podcast where I did do pagination, and that was a good idea. So I probably should do the same thing for my other one. So yeah, for yours, first of all, I don't think I would care about what the web vitals say about it. And then if you're worried about the user experience of just like having a ridiculously long page and you want that to be a different experience, then just add pagination. That's what I do.
Okay. That makes sense. And I'm like the primary user for this thing. This is pretty much like my little diary of things I've learned. So I'm fine with it. But I was just curious. Yeah.
If you get to 100,000 DOM nodes, let me know.
All right, sounds good. Actually, I do have one more question about this today I wrote yesterday. Have you heard of Panda? Have you tried Panda
I
yet?
have heard of Panda. Whenever something new and cool and exciting comes out, I always like to come and look at where they have integrations and make sure that they care about Remix. so yeah, I noticed that they do support Remix, and surprisingly, they actually put Remix first, which never happens. Yeah, so they do have a Remix integration, which like CSS and JS is traditionally not been super SSR friendly because you have to do the double render thing. But they get around that by having it not be necessarily a runtime thing, but it actually does generate a CSS file. So that passes the test for me that it's not a runtime thing. But it also looked like there are some runtime characteristics as well that so I haven't looked enough into it to know that for sure. But I mean, it sounds interesting. I really like Tailwind. Oh yeah, I also saw this and I really appreciated this. Not all projects do this, and they should, where they acknowledge previous existing solutions that inspired the creation of their project. That is good. Please, more of this. So yeah, vanilla extract is an inspiration in Tailwind, and yeah, styled system. Like I feel like I'm at some sort of high school reunion, looking back at some of these like, oh yeah, I remember those. Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it looks interesting. I probably will not use it. I'm pretty darn satisfied with Tailwind, and especially with where is it? Shad CN UI.com. This thing is pretty fabulous. I'm pretty satisfied with Shad CN.
I'm not familiar with this.
Yeah, so it's like a component library, except instead of installing it like you typically would, you actually like copy paste it. So you're like, oh, I need a badge. And they say, okay, so here's how we've got a CLI to help you install it, or you can just manually install it by literally copy pasting this code into your project. I actually love this because it means that if you need a change, you don't have to ask them to make a change and wait for their change or anything. If you need to customize it, boom, you can customize it however you like. So there are pros and cons to that, of course. But the thing that I'm enjoying right now is just taking advantage of their approach to styling and configuring Tailwind. So they've got like their colors are all in CSS variables in HSL format. And so like dark mode is just really easy. You don't have to say when it's dark, make it this color, and when it's light, make it this color. It's just like make it whatever the background is and make the text whatever the foreground is. And then we change that CSS variable and everything works nicely.
Cool.
So anyway, I'm actually adapting my workshop app to do this, and then the Epic Stack also has this in the Tailwind and now needs to be updated in all the app. But anyway, this is what I'm looking at right now. I think Tailwind is fabulous, and so I'm looking into this.
Cool. Awesome. That makes sense. Today I learned. I'll add a new post for that.
Yeah, there you go. I love this. I think this is fantastic. I actually have tried to do something like this myself, and I never stuck to it. So it looks like you're doing awesome with this. This is cool.
Thanks. I have one more question actually. I have to stand up in 5 minutes, but it's fine. Just because I'm curious. I think I know the answer, but I'll still ask. Would it be possible to build out a Chrome extension using something like Remix, or is Remix like not the right tool for that?
I wouldn't. Yes, possible. But probably not what you would use for something like that. First of all, like extensions don't typically have much to do with routing. And so that's like a huge part of what Remix's shtick is a router. So, and then of course, extensions aren't really server rendered. You could like pre-render stuff, but that's also not a thing that Remix does. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you just use regular React. Like I would, I haven't built an extension in a long time, but if I had to build one, I'm sure that there's a nice workflow using Vite.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Cool. Thanks so much, Kent. I'll see
Yeah,
you
sure thing.
next week, maybe. I don't know when the next one is.
Yeah. I think I will have office hours. Actually, I've got my calendar here. And yes, I am currently scheduled to do office hours next week. So I'll see you then.
I thought you had stopped doing them because you were like busy with workshops, but turns out my calendar just wasn't synced with your calendar, which is why I missed everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of workshops, you may have missed this earlier, but Epic Web Dev, we've got where is it? Oh, there it is. I've got 8 workshops that I'm going to be giving starting in July. So if you want to go through the whole gamut, it's going to be sick. So anyway.
One question before I go, I keep saying that, but do you cover things like data modeling in this workshop, or is it
yes
more... Okay,
yeah,
cool.
we're going so deep, so we'll do full stack foundations. You've come to my workshop before, right?
Yeah, I've been to like 2 or 3.
Yeah, so you went to the web fundamentals one, right?
Yeah.
And
No, the web fundamentals. I went to like one way back, like 2 years ago, pre-pandemic.
Okay, yeah. So this is all new stuff. So full stack foundation, professional web forms, data modeling, yeah, just like you are asking, authentication, and testing. So and like several of those are multi-part. So altogether, it's 8 workshops over 4 weeks. So 2 workshops a week. It's gonna be pretty intense.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, I'll check that out. I'll probably sign up and try to get my work to pay for it, but I
Yeah,
mean,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah, get your work to pay for it. The link is just a little bit further up in the Discord.
Yeah.
So
I'll
yeah.
find it. All right,
Hope
man.
to see you
Nice
there.
meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, great. So looks like Akshay, can you answer a quick question on who is Epic Web Dev going to be made for? Absolute beginners or folks with maybe some knowledge of HTML, CSS, and a bit of JS? Currently watching. Hello. If you're still watching, answering this now, just in case you're not watching, and so to let you know that it's happening now. Okay, so the target audience ultimately, when Epic Web Dev is done and has everything that I have envisioned, it will be anybody with any level of experience, because I want to be able, I want to teach like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, like basics from scratch. But also I want to teach like really advanced stuff. So the volume 1, this workshop series is, I'm going to deliver these workshops and then I'll record them and put them as like what the main offering of Epic Web Dev is. And so this is targeted to people with experience building websites. So experience with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I will assume some level of competency with all that stuff. It will also be using TypeScript. So I'll assume some level of competency with TypeScript, though like we're not getting into really advanced stuff, at least for this first volume. I don't think we even do anything with generics or anything. Like TypeScript is actually pretty simple most of the time. So yeah, so the experienced engineers working on enterprise scale apps or new projects. That's the target. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully that answers your question. Looks like we have gotten through all the questions. There's no other people in the Zoom call, so I'll wrap things up by saying, if you do have another question, then the Call Kent podcast is here for you to make a recording, introduce yourself, and ask your question. And then I will listen to it. And I actually have my admin page here, and I've got a question that I will be answering from Matt. Matt is actually great because he wrote a blog post about how I do my theming here, which is pretty cool. So anyway, I'll listen to his question. I'll submit my response, and then it will be published as a podcast episode. So if you have a question and you have not, you missed office hours, then feel free to ask there. And yeah, with that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful Thursday afternoon or evening.